Hello and welcome back to the Puncher's Chance podcast, and welcome to the preview show where we talk about all the fights coming up in the next week, this weekend. That is Joe Joyce main eventing on Heavy Impact in Manchester versus now Filip Hrgovic, as well as Guido Vianello, Richard Torrez Jr., and lots of other great fights as always. We don't just get the one or two fights this week, keeping us busy. Straight into the action. Joe Joyce versus Filip Hrgovic. Mm-hmm. It's not the fight we expected. It's probably a better fight than the one we were going to get. But is it a fight that we should be getting?
Well, both are coming off losses, aren't they? Filip Hrgovic got absolutely destroyed by Daniel Dubois on that 5v5 card, and Joe Joyce against Derek Chisora. Obviously, that was a very close fight, and I think if Joe Joyce perhaps maybe had got a knockdown late on in that fight, it could have been a completely different story, and we could be talking about Joe Joyce, you know, potentially fighting after a while and then becoming number one, I think, for the IBF. But yeah, this fight for me, I was a lot more excited. I was really excited for Joe Joyce, Dillian Whyte. I thought, yeah, that's a proper fight. That's the sort of fight where the winner, whoever loses that, goes home. But this one on Saturday night is the loser goes home, no matter what. Even if it goes a distance, if you lose this fight on Saturday night, I think that's your career finished. And I think that adds a bit added pressure to it, and it probably adds to making a decent fight and a decent viewing. And there's a lot of people talking about whether Joe Joyce should still be fighting. I don't know, what's your opinion on that? I think, you know, he's taken a battering, you know, that 2 defeats against Zhang. After that second defeat, I was quite happy for Joe Joyce. If he called it a day, I would have respected that and would have congratulated him on an incredible career. But for him to carry on fighting and, you know, to take on Filip Hrgovic, who's going to be trying to get his career back up and running in the same way that Joe Joyce is, and to main event as well at I want to say it's at the Co-op Live. I could be wrong. It could be the Manchester Arena. It's somewhere in Manchester. Co-op Live. To come back and main event as well, it just shows how big of a name he is, Joe Joyce and Filip Hrgovic. But yeah, I think whoever loses this fight goes home and retires and will never step in the ring again. And I think for both of them, they've had a great career, great amateur career Joe Joyce had. And, you know, yeah, since those defeats to Zhilei Zhang, he hasn't been the same fighter since. And I'm expecting Filip Hrgovic to come out all guns blazing, and it could be a very early night for us on Saturday.
Yeah, to go back to the Joe Joyce thing, I think obviously we don't know well enough. We don't know Joe Joyce. We don't know anything like that. So I certainly don't want to speak out of turn. But from the evidence that we have and can see and the stuff we do know, it appears as if he probably shouldn't be boxing anymore. No. That's the way it looks from an outside perspective. And I think that's all I'm going to say on the matter, because he's not going to listen to me. He's not going to go, shit, Sam from the Puncher's Chance says I should retire, therefore it must be the case.
It was concerning though, I thought, though, when he was on that Bournemouth card and he was meant to be fighting Patrick Corte. I thought, hang on a minute, why is Joe Joyce fighting so close to fighting Dillian Whyte? Yeah, he's a fighter that you wish the best to and want him to have that sort of last win. But yeah, Saturday night is a very tough battle for him. It's an uphill battle, if anything. And yeah, I can agree with people when they say Joe Joyce should not be boxing, and you can see the argument of why he should be boxing. But it's a great card. It's good to see as well, you know, that Queensbury have finally switched over to DAZN. There's no more using of Weatherspoons for me now. You know, if people are new to the channel, Weatherspoons is like watching it on Daily Motion.
Any non-official method of watching,
but it is official. It's gotten the name of it.
Officially unofficial method that doesn't cost you any money. It's Weatherspoons.
But I appreciate Frank Warren that he's gone onto the zone now, and for someone who, in a way, criticised Eddie Hearn for going over to this app, for him now to go over there is quite funny. But it could add to something over in the zone and British boxing, where you've got the two biggest promoters in the UK going at it to try and get the biggest fights, the best cards, you know, and they're both going to be going at it. So that should be good viewing.
It also probably means that we're going to get less stupid clashes with fight cards between the two of them. You know, when you just think, we've got nothing next week and we've got two great cards in the same weekend, at least now if they're both fighting for the TV schedule, they'll probably be one after the other, which is better for us. And And this is it's a good way to start. This card is a good way to start on DAZN. Jack Rafferty defending the Commonwealth title, I think. Yeah, it is his Commonwealth, isn't it? He's defending, which should be a really great fight. David Adeleye fighting Jamie TKV.
Great fight.
For the British title. The vacant British title after he picked up the English. Delicious Orie making his pro debut. Mark Chamberlain making a return to the ring. Royston Barney Smith in another good fight. Or certainly another fight in a good career. Lots of things to look forward to kick off DAZN, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it's great to see Mark Chamberlain back out in the ring, obviously after that massive, well, it was probably one of the biggest upsets of the year last year when Josh Padley came from absolutely nowhere and beat him. I remember when we went to that press conference, when we saw Mark Chamberlain and Josh Padley, everyone had the same reaction to Josh Padley. Andy Clark even said, I don't know who this guy is. I need to go backstage now and try and work out, when he started boxing, all this. And yeah, it was a big upset, and he's taken time out of the ring, understandably. He's probably got paid a very good sum of money for those two fights that he's had over in Saudi and at Wembley.
He's also moved up in weight, interestingly. He's up to super lightweight for this.
I didn't know that. So a new weight, a new journey perhaps beginning for Mark Chamberlain. But yeah, it's great to see him back out. Royston Barney Smith, he's someone that you've seen live, I believe, at the OVO in Wembley.
Yeah, the Wembley Arena.
He looked very impressive that night, I thought. And
that was for the youth? I think it was for a youth title or some description. Perhaps I made that up, but it was a good performance from him. It was a really good performance.
Where he fought Navarrete, but not the Navarrete that everyone knows.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he's a quality operator, and he's got power in the hands, and it's exciting. So, similar way to Mark Chamberlain, they're sort of both. How do I say this politely as a man of this affliction? A wiry fighters. They're not bulky.
No.
But sometimes you have fighters like that, like Hamza Shiraz.
They're not me. They're just not me and Ben. Bulky.
Yeah, definitely not Ben. And they just have this power in their hands.
Yeah.
And I just really like that build of fighter. And Mark Chamberlain at super lightweight, that's a great division to be in the UK. Let's be real, once he builds himself up nicely, there's some great fights for him at that level. Really great fights. And so I think, yeah, it'll be good to see what he can do up there. Royston Barney Smith, like you said, impressive. David Adeleye comes off the back of probably the biggest knockout I've witnessed live. On that same night I watched Royston Barney Smith on Solomon Dacres. He went down like a collapsing tower block. It was impressive. And then Delicious Orie, the man, exciting, off the Olympic team. We obviously watched Pat Brown make his pro debut last week, and I think he's another one that you're thinking, he's going to have a fun, exciting career to follow, if nothing else.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Delicious Orie's professional debut on the weekend. I think he's something special. He had a great amateur career, great story as well. I think his story needs to get talked about a lot more than what it is. Unbelievable story that he's got, and it's good to see he's moving over into the pro ranks. And if there's anything like Pat Brown's professional debut last Friday, we're in for a treat, because I think if he can show off what he's learnt in the gym, and in a way it'll be interesting to see as well. A lot of amateurs nowadays, they cross over and they never have the feeling of the 10-ounce gloves. Pat Brown admitted that he never put on 10-ounce gloves until he stepped in the ring. So it'd be interesting to see Delicious Orie, how he sorts of reacts to it as well, because you feel it more at heavyweight, don't you? Lower weights you can kind of get away without feeling the punches, but at heavyweight, if you get hit, I remember we were at a show once and Moses Jolly, a Welsh heavyweight, I went up to him and fist pumped him and said, good luck. And all of a sudden I just felt his knuckle on my knuckle, and I thought, you've got a pair of boxing gloves on and I can feel your knuckle. Yeah. And it's unbelievable how thin they are. So it'd be interesting to see how he reacts. But yeah, the journey starts for him, and it's a journey that I'm very much excited for, and it's a journey that I'm happy that it's happening on DAZN. Yeah. Because I don't have to, like we said, go off to other sites to watch it. I can watch it all in one place. Hopefully they don't put the subscription charge up as well.
That's not again, surely not, no.
I can't be having that, because Sam still pays a grand total of...
I don't.
You don't?
No, I've been ripped off. I need to make the calls. I've got a few people I need to call. My mate Stephen from DAZN.
I swear you change his name
every week.
Hopefully
still, probably. I forgot. I never knew what his name was in the first place. So
James.
But yeah, it's great to be on DAZN. Yeah. And Delicious Orie, I can't wait to be sat here this time next week and you say future world title.
That winds up a lot of people, don't it?
It does.
It winds up a certain person I know.
But you when a train comes through the station,
I jump straight on it.
You can't help but get on. And do you know what? Fair play to you, because you probably live a much more enjoyable life than cynical people like me and Ben, who go, oh, well, he did get punched once in the first round.
I'm a big British boxing fan. I think that's what I can describe myself as.
Whereas Ben's just a big boxing fan.
That's two.
So for those who don't know, whenever Ben's not here, it's a custom to
you, not me. Now, don't bring me into it.
To refer to him as obese, which he's not. He's a light heavyweight, I think, technically.
I would even say middleweight.
I don't know. To be honest, I've never watched him step on the scales. Body break. But it's
free.
It's a nice little thing. So if you wonder why we're bullying him, he's a lovely man. If not slightly on the larger side. So just queuing him up. Yep. Jack Rafferty. That's going to be a good fight. That's going to be a really good fight. He's had a couple really great fights in a row now.
It's my favourite thing to say. Someone's always got to go in this one, and like you said, it's for the Commonwealth. And Jack Rafferty. I can't remember in his last fight. Was it Henry Turner?
Yeah,
I mean that was a sort of fight where you had question marks on his ability and everything, and he came through that in unbelievable fashion. And have they got the time? Have they got the judges' scorecards on it? No. I think Turner was dominant in that fight, if I remember rightly, and then out of nowhere maybe Rafferty won it. I can't really recall it, but it's his second outing of the year so far, and it's a great fight, like you said, and it's not a heavyweight though fight, is it? And that's the sort of theme that we were going with this fight card, and all of a sudden you had a load of pullouts. But this fight that they've brought in, Rafferty O'Regan, I can get on board with this. And Rafferty's that sort of fighter, 25-0, 16 wins via stoppage. He is someone very special, and he's someone now that if he gets through this fight on Saturday night, he's got the Commonwealth title. The next logical step for him is, stepping up again and seeing how far he can go in this game. But looking forward to this fight. And it's a shame as well, in a way, this fight card. We were meant to have Lawrence Okoli, Richard Riakporhe, but I'm a little bit more confident that we will see that quite soon, due to the fact of there was no late call-up for Richard Riakporhe's opponent. Maybe that's got something to do with Riakporhe being a boxer fighter, I'm not too sure. But hopefully we get to see that fight, because that would have been something very special. But for me, this is a good call-up fight for Rafferty and O'Regan to have that spot, hopefully in the co-main as well, because I think it's going to be a decent fight.
Yeah, definitely. It is going to be a good fight, and one to watch for on what should be a really entertaining card from top to bottom. David Adeleye, like we said, I expect him to get through Jamie TKV. Mm-hmm. That is a heavyweight fight, and I do expect him to get that British title.
There's a bit of needle between them as well. I don't know if you've seen, they were on TalkSport on Monday afternoon/morning, going back and forth, and David Adeleye saying, you're not all about this, you're a nice guy and all that. So potentially we could see a different Jamie TKV coming into the ring. So I look forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely same. And if you've had enough, or if that's not enough heavyweight action, then this is a fight that me and you have kind of spotted on a card over in the States. I say spotted like it's some sort of super scout deal. It was announced, and from a second we went, oh, that's a really good fight, that. Richard Torrez Jr. versus Guido Vianello. That is some test for Torrez Jr. to take. Olympic silver medalist in 2020, 12-0 now, taking on a man who is an unfortunate split decision loss to FA Ajagba away from
won that fight.
Probably
Can I just say he won that fight?
Yeah, and they win there would in theory put him as the IBF mandatory for Bakoli before, because that's what FA Ajagba got given. So
it's the sort of fight where I look at it and I'm thinking it's got the same feeling of when they announced Jared Anderson, Martin Bakoli, what are you doing Top Rank? But listen, I'm a massive fan of Vianello. I think he's an incredible heavyweight, and I remember last year people said he was coming off that split decision loss, like you said, to Ajagba, where I honestly thought he won comfortably by 3 or 4 rounds that night. And then to come back in against probably one of the scariest looking heavyweights in boxing at the moment, Arslanbek Makhmudov, and just to destroy him in, 7 rounds, I think it was, something like that. For him now to get this opportunity against Torrez Jr., it's a bit like, okay, you're not getting that next step up fight, but you're taking on someone that's got that sort of name that if you beat him, you're the guy now in America. And I'm a big fan of him. But Torrez Jr., quite small, Vianello's got the height reach advantage, so it's going to be quite interesting to see how someone like Torrez, obviously, like you said, got that amateur experience, how he reacts to that. He has to be on the front foot throughout the fight to have any sort of success. And yeah, it's the sort of, again, I don't know what Top Rank are doing. They seem to be putting their, heavyweights up against decent opposition, and I'm here for it. I love seeing a name that people are saying has got a big future up against someone that could potentially beat him. I think that's great matchmaking and great for the fighter because you learn more from those fights. But yeah, I'm not too sure about this. I think Vianello will probably have a little bit too much for him, but yeah, it's great to see that he's having another opportunity, because I'm sure everyone that watched the FAA Jagba fight, I remember watching it back, and because I don't think it was televised anywhere here in the UK, so I was watching on some Italian stream, and I never knew that the Italians were big on boxing. And to see the channel and to see the following he's got and everything, it's great to see, and it's a sort of fighter where you wish well. And yeah, Saturday night, Sunday morning for us, I'm looking forward to seeing this, because it's a heavyweight fight it's a heavyweight weekend, but it's a heavyweight fight where you're thinking, yeah, that one's got, as Ben said, fight of the weekend over it. And I think Torrez Jr. can't come out slowly in this fight. Whatever he does, he has to assert the dominance straight away if he wants any sort of success. But I think Vianello's got a little bit too much for him. I know the predictions. I don't think we're doing our predictions for this card.
So I think
Vianello does stop him, if I'm being completely honest. And if I'm wrong, happy days.
Yeah, I'm inclined to say the same thing. I think Vianello should be winning this fight, and if Richard Torrez Jr. does win it, then that is a statement and a half.
Exactly.
That's a real statement of intent.
I think that's why Top Rank's potentially done it, because they probably went with the same risk when Jared Anderson fought Martin Bakole. If Anderson pulled that off that night in LA, then wow, everyone, like you talk about hype trains, everyone gets on that train straight away, don't they? This guy here, Torrez Jr., he's got the potential of being that next sort of face of American heavyweight boxing, because there's not many people coming through from America. Obviously, Deontay Wilder's coming back against, can't even remember his name, let's say some random person that's got not the best records. This Torrez Jr.'s guy, he's the sort of fighter now that you want to build him up, but it's just a shame that he's fighting Vianello this weekend. And listen, if he gets through it, fair play to him, because like you said, that's a hell of a name to have on your record, and that can boost you up the rankings straight away. And people might say, oh, I don't want to touch him, let's push him to one side, and he could become the sort of fighter where no one wants to fight him. But no, it should be a decent weekend of boxing, and that fight for me is, as Ben rightly says, fight of the weekend.
Yeah, and it's good you can say it, because you don't.
I don't jinx stuff
that Ben does. But yeah, Richard Torrez Jr. as well. He's only 25, which is crazy to think. He was in the Olympic final, lost to Jalalov in that one in Tokyo, and then now he's 12-0 at 25. If he does lose this, he's got time to sort of come back from it. So I think, like you say, that's why they've done it. On to the predictions, your favourite part of the week. I never like it when there's just two of us, because it means that we have to
be different.
We have to go back and forth. I don't have a little bit of time to think, because I don't like to prepare. I don't like to pre-plan. I like to just go with my heart, not my head. The theme of
when we began this podcast was I took a long time to make my predictions. Now I've gone quicker. People don't like it. Are we sure we want to do this card, Joe Joyce, Filip Hrgovic?
With two fights on it? Probably not. Let's rethink this one and have a look.
Talking about other cards, mind as well. This weekend on Friday night, you've got a GBM show. Ben Crocker from Swansea's fighting, so the very best of luck to him.
Emma Dolan.
Yep.
Chakam Pitters.
Huey Fury's back in action, so he's probably got a big year coming up for him, because it's probably his last sort of like warm-up fight before he pushes on to get those big fights that he wants. Have we decided what
I'm having a look to see if the Torrez Jr. Vianello card is on the Boxing News app. If not, we might just have to say our predictions for some of the fights.
Torrez Jr., Vianello. How many fights have we got?
I was going to say, I haven't got any fights loaded up.
There's more on you.
Mine's taking a little while to load at the moment, so that's far from ideal. There we go. We'll have to go for this one then. Wow, I suppose we haven't even mentioned one of your prospects of the year.
Well, I wasn't allowed. No, let's not say one of my. I wasn't allowed to say my prospect of the year. This guy,
because he's 17-0. Of course you can't.
Yeah, but he hasn't really fought anyone as of yet. But yeah, he's a great fighter, and he's another former, I want to say amateur champion, but yeah, another 10-rounder, Carlos Ornelas. He's coming off how many stoppage wins? I don't know. What is he? 17 and 15 knockouts.
Not bad going that.
He's got 10 rounds to work on Saturday night, so I believe Mason gets Ornelas out of there within the distance.
I'm going to say the same thing. I agree with you on that.
Oh God,
this is going to be fun.
This is very interesting.
Well, we can do the 2 fights on the Joe Joyce.
All right, we'll do what we did last week as well. Right.
Lindolfo Delgado versus Elvis Rodriguez, super lightweight 10-rounder. An unbeaten fighter versus a fighter with just 2 or 1 loss, 1 draw. Who are you going for with this one?
Well, Delgado's coming off a stoppage win, I can tell you that. Hang on, let me see if there's any theory behind my thing.
I'm going for a Delgado points decision is what I'm going for.
I'm going to go for a Delgado late stoppage. How about that? Let's be different.
I like it. And then the main event, Richard Torrez Jr., Guido Vianello. You've kind of you put your cards on the table already.
Vianello 7th round stoppage TKO.
I'm going to go rogue. I'm going to go for a Vianello points decision.
Okay.
I think it might be a tighter fight than you're predicting.
Let's hopefully see if the judges get it right that night.
Let's hope so, yeah. So we'll do that one, and then we'll do the Joe Joyce Hrgovic. If you guys haven't tuned into the podcast before, we do all of our predictions on the Boxing News app. We're in no way sponsored by them. If they could sponsor us, that would be great.
Some people do leave their predictions though for the weekend's fights coming up to a Friday after the weigh-ins, which I firmly believe that's what we should do. But
no, because we know. I don't even know. I was going to say what we know. Ball, but it's not ball. We know box. We know glove.
We know.
We know punch. We know all of that. So we should be able to do this.
We need Ben back.
David Adeleye. Yeah, we do. We're losing our minds. David Adeleye versus Jamie TKV, heavyweight 10-rounder, but it ain't going to be a 10-rounder. It's going to be a David Adeleye stoppage.
Agreed.
And Joe Joyce, Filip Hrgovic, heavyweight 10-rounder, but it's not going to be a 10-rounder. It's going to be a Hrgovic stoppage.
Correct.
Wow.
Agree.
Now that is exciting.
Great stuff. So we've both gone for virtually the same predictions.
Yeah, compelling viewing. I'm sure you guys are all at home, losing your minds over how exciting the last 3 minutes of the podcast was just there. It's what they, it's what they tune in for. And
we are now nearly 3 weeks away from a big fight here in the UK. Chris Eubank Jr.
versus Conor Ben.
Excellent fight.
Yeah, good.
It's going to be a cracking fight, actually.
It is, yeah. It will. I can't think if there's any more. I can't make any more egg yolks. Sorry, that was poor. That was really bad.
That was terrible.
That was really dreadful. But that is a great fight. Genuinely, like all jokes aside, that is a great fight.
Yeah, well, someone said he doesn't care about the fight when it was first announced and first rumoured, and now he can't get enough of it.
I said, and I stand by this, if it didn't happen, I wouldn't have been disappointed that it hadn't happened now.
Okay.
I'd have been disappointed it hadn't happened 2-3 years ago. But we are getting it now.
And I'm very excited. And the card looks great. People are not even looking at the undercard. We've got Chev Clark-Vidal Riley coming up.
That is an unbelievable fight. That's such a good fight.
That's opening the card as well, probably, which, incredible. Cannot wait. April's going to be a great month for boxing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking forward to it. Especially for Welsh boxing as well. If anyone, there's a big show happening in Swansea this month as well, live on BBC. James Atkins against Conor McIntosh for the Super something Championship.
Lightweight.
I think so. Moving up 2 weight divisions, McIntosh is. Willie Gilhaney, Ethan George, finally.
Great fight.
If you're going to watch a fight, that fight for me is, we've got Welsh Boxing Fight of the Year written all over it. And then Kieran Jones is going for his first professional title as well, the Celtic. So, if you live around Swansea, Ben's a big fan of Swansea, I heard. I'm sure he is, yeah. He's probably going to be down in Swansea because he loves it down there, especially at the Liberty or the Swansea.com Stadium, as they call it, one of his favourite football grounds. It's going to be. I think that's a great night of boxing down there, and quite thankful he's on BBC.
Yeah, absolutely. So you don't have to watch it once again on Wetherspoons or any other services or
someone's Facebook Live, which is something that you watch a lot of with Welsh boxing.
Yeah, that's never the one, is it? They never look great
because they don't show the fight; they just show something else.
Yeah, and
they're watching the fight whilst they say they're going to film, and they're filming over there.
Yeah, they get distracted. Yeah. Which I'm sure everyone has listening to this.
Well, we've got distracted a little bit. Yeah, exactly. We're showing
I can't blame them. As always, thank you all for tuning in. If you want to once again leave some hate comments about Ben because he hasn't turned up, that's two.
You're on 4 now.
2 out of 3 weeks. That's really poor going. That is really bad. Yeah. So, some would say there's no more room for him on the podcast, but that's more a physical thing than anything else. We've got the 5 fat jokes in, so that can cool it off for the podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. Follow us on all social media, Spotify for the audio episodes, Twitter for updates, Instagram, TikTok, all great content, all of those places. So follow us on all of those, and we'll catch you all next week where we'll be reviewing the card that we just previewed and talking about what's coming up as well and anything else that happened between now and then in the crazy world of boxing. So thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all next week.
Punches chance. Punches Chance Podcast.